Welcome, everybody, to It Tastes Different Gaming News. What's on our little appetizers today? 343 will no longer be making Halo games. Hold your applause. All right, so Halo or Microsoft is going through a lot of crap right now. We're talking massive layoffs, restructuring, and all sorts of junk. And now the latest news 343 Industries will no longer be making the Halo games, but it will be a babysitter. It will be monitoring and overseeing, making sure that they do something stupid, I guess. A new report is claiming that 343s is being taken off of active duty of that franchise and will be just, overseeing things and how they go. And these will go to other development groups. There has been a lot of things happening over there. The developer that they brought in, Jason Staten, to help finish the game, is leaving 343 and going back to the Xbox publishing. So there's just a lot going on with Halo right now. They have also canceled upcoming DLC, saying it is not cost effective. So that sucks. They had a lot of problems with the Halo Infinite. We've played it, we reviewed it. Go check that out. There was several things that we enjoyed and many that we didn't, many that most of the Halo community is very upset about. No co-op, the creation stuff was not there. No couch co-op, which they announced that near the beginning, and that really made a lot of people mad. So let's go to Nick on this, because I know we played every Halo together at some point. So Nick, Halo, what do you think?
Hello. Good. I'm glad 343 no longer is going to be creating Halo games. 343's had it for a while, and they've done a really poor job of creating Halo games, right? Halo 4 wasn't bad. Halo 5 was bad. And Halo Infinite was okay. But again, with Halo Infinite, I mean, yeah, you're exactly right. They had no direction with Halo Infinite. Not even close to the end of Halo Infinite coming out. They still had no direction. When it came out, it was missing a lot of its features and functionalities. And I think we had heard reports at the time that is because they had to start over several times. And so clearly they had no direction on what they were going to do with Halo Infinite. 343 has had Halo for quite a few years now. And ever since they've gotten Halo, and I put this part onto Microsoft, right? And I don't know what happens in the background, but if you're going to give a franchise such as Halo to somebody, you've got to give it to a company that's competent and can produce something that's going to make you money and be a service to the fans, not junk and crap after junk and crap. That's basically all they've made pretty much for Halo. Once it's left Bungie's hands, it hasn't been the same Halo that we're used to. So, so clearly in Microsoft's, on their side, it's like you gave it to 343 and 343 clearly didn't know what to do with it and never figured out what to do with it. I'm glad, Halo Infinite's multiplayer is not bad and people online seem to like the multiplayer. That seems to be the only part that they've gotten fairly okay with. And they're going to keep, working on the multiplayer side of things, but the single player campaign and all that stuff is pretty much out the window. But it'll be kind of nice to see, it'll be interesting to see what they do. Like if they just allow several different developers, that's what it sounds like. They're just going to kind of throw it out there and let different developers create different Halo games. And that sounds cool. But if they find a developer that can really bring about, the Halo franchise, and give it to them to make Halo games every year or something like that, or not every year, but you know what I'm saying, all the time, kind of like 343 was, where they were the main Halo makers. Then they can definitely do that. That's one thing that Sony has above Microsoft is that Sony, when it finds a developer that can create these awesome games, that developer continues to spit out these awesome games. Microsoft just can't seem to find The only thing they have right now is Horizon with Playground Games being able to spit out some really good Horizon Forza titles, and now they're working on Fable, and we'll see how they do with something other than racing. But other than that, besides the people they've bought, and the people that I know Playground is something they bought, right? And it's not something they started and created. It was a company that was already put together. But these companies that they have, and I know 343 was that way too, but I'm saying the companies that they've created, the initiative, for example, we haven't heard crap about, and then 343 and these other ones that they've purchased, they just don't know what to do with them. There just doesn't seem to be any direction within management, and that seems to be the case here with Halo as well. So I'm glad 343 is no longer taking, no longer has the Halo franchise. Before Halo Infinite came out, I said to myself, I hadn't been too impressed with the last two Halo games that 343 made. And I was like, this was their last chance to really impress me. And I think for a lot of fans out there, this was the last chance to really impress them. And they just didn't do it. So it was kind of like 3 strikes, you're done. Let's give it to somebody that can make something out of it, because Halo is such a awesome game and such an awesome story, and the everything's created, and it has a really awesome sci-fi story and background and atmosphere and everything going for it. Bungie created this awesome thing with Halo, right? This and the same thing with like Destiny and things like that. If you read hey, Bungie's really good at storytelling and creating this atmosphere in this world. And it just takes the right person to take something like that, if Bungie's no longer doing it, to make it into something spectacular and something awesome. And 343 just clearly couldn't cut it. So good, glad. I don't like the layoffs and various things like that. It always sucks for restructuring. Everyone seems to be restructuring right now. Excuse me. But, the thing is I'm glad 343 doesn't have it. What about you, Pat? What do you think?
Yeah, this game was not that great. The last Halo Infinite. The Halo Infinite was not a good game that came out. I did not finish it. I did not beat it. I'm pretty sure I didn't make it halfway. So, to me, it was quite a boring foray into the franchise at their open world-ish type setup. I was just meh with the whole thing, to be honest with you. I didn't find it very fun. These guys were, they were gung-ho about, we were really gung-ho about the co-op, and I think that would have made it better if it came out day one with co-op, but it didn't. It came day one stripped with a lot of missing features, and then they even canceled some of those features when, the whole rigmarole. This was supposed to be, Halo was supposed to be their day one game released with the Series X, but it was postponed by a year because it was, as soon as fans saw that trailer, they were like, what the hell is this, 1999 all over again, or something. So they pretty much postponed it for like a year to iron out the stuff, iron it out. And I don't know if that's when they restarted it, as the rumors have gone around that they restarted the game, but it still wasn't ready to come out of the oven when they released it, in my opinion. There was, the fans were promised, I'm not one of those people who were like, I got to have couch co-op, but there are plenty of people who were like, couch co-op is what I want. And then they canceled it. And now they're rumored to have canceled the DLC for this game, which I don't know if anybody here is interested in playing it or whatever, but I didn't beat it, but I think Nick and Shane both beat it. And they wanted to take me through the campaign, and we played I don't even think we played a couple hours one night, and they were like, I could tell everybody was already bored with it by then, and we haven't picked it back up again since. So that's how fun this recent Halo is. And I will admit the heydays of Halo for me was when Bungie owned it. But Bungie is really good at shooters. I mean, they're really damn good at it. I mean, they've taken a games of service game, Destiny, and just ran with it like crazy. And they're Destiny 2, and it's still really popular. You log into it, and there's tons of people, there's tons of stuff going on. It's fully active still. And then Halo is just kind of petered out. I mean, the multiplayer I think still is active to some extent, but I don't think it's that active. I'd have to look at the number of active players for like Steam or something, but that's only on Steam. Microsoft doesn't really report active numbers, but you can usually go through and kind of tell how many people are in there sometimes, depending on how long you have to wait in a lobby or something like that. So I think that they're still getting pretty popular for the multiplayer stuff, but I don't play the multiplayer. I look at Halo as a single player experience for me, and or a co-op experience, right? A storytelling experience for me. I'm not into it for the multiplayer. So, and 343 just kind of, it seems like they focused way too much on the games of service side of things for me, in my opinion. The campaign kind of suffered. It was really quite a boring campaign for me. And I never was hooked and go, I got to know what's happening next in the campaign. What's happening next? What's happening next? And that never took hold for me. And it's also probably why I didn't finish it, because I just got in the open world part of it and ran around for an hour or two. And I'm like, yeah, this is not fun. So I tried to beeline the campaign, but eventually I got to a point where I'm overpowered by all the enemies because I decided I didn't want to do any of the side crap in the open world. And then I just gave up. So, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, I'm glad to hear that 343 is not going to be doing Halo anymore. I'd like to see what somebody else can do with it. Maybe they can do better. Maybe they'll do worse. We won't know till it comes out. But what can 343 Industries do? What's Microsoft going to let them do? I mean, they basically don't have anything. They've always done Halo since since Microsoft pretty much, they decided to split when Bungie split, and these guys came about, and they were, I think 343 was started by Microsoft while they still owned Bungie, and then Microsoft retained the rights to Halo, and then Bungie split from Microsoft, and now PlayStation owns them, so Sony owns them. So but 343 has done nothing but Halo. So what are they going to do now? I don't know. I mean, it's not like they make bad quality games. Halo is not a bad quality game. It's just they promised way too much. They basically pulled the worst sales tactic you could ever do. They overpromised everything and undersold in every aspect of the game. Really, I mean, delivering multiplayer free before the game came out, whoop-de-doo, I don't care. That's just me. What about you, Shane, man? What do you think? Are you excited that they're losing the franchise and going to another team, or are you kind of worried that another team is just not going to be able to do anything with it?
To me, I think, and I'm probably, sitting all alone over here. Halo's biggest problem is Microsoft. When the 360 was hitting all their popularity, one thing that I remember reading about was Microsoft was pushing every game to have co-op and multiplayer of some sort. Every game. Microsoft, I think, started to interject themselves too much at that point. And I think you can see it still. I think Microsoft was probably the biggest issue with the last three Halo games. 4 and 5, Infinite. 4 was fine. At the most, I would say 4 was fine. Solid multiplayer. 5, solid multiplayer. Infinite, pretty solid multiplayer. The problem is I like multiplayer. I like Halo multiplayer. But the last three, it's too much for me. I play the co-op. Me and Nick have always played the co-op. They didn't emphasize the co-op at all. I think Microsoft let too many people tell them to do certain things that they couldn't do, screwed things up. And then you had whatever they called Brute, the Brute, when they announced him in the reveal trailer, you could see that it was just somebody made the wrong decision to show that. And it wouldn't have been 343. I don't see that they would have made a decision to show that, 16-bit Craig, that's what his name is, Craig. I don't see that they would have done that. I think they even knew that, this is crap. We're not ready. But they had to give out something on it because Halo is was a launch game for Xbox. So they needed to show something. I don't put it all on 343. I think a lot of it was Halo or Microsoft pushing their wants on the game itself. I think if Bungie did their great games because they were left alone. That was one thing that I remember them, preaching before. We do our thing. Microsoft let them do the thing, just like the Gears of War creator Cliff Bleszinski. They let them do their thing because their game made money, so they're going to continue to let them make money. Let them do their own thing. I think when 343 jumped in, I think Microsoft bigwigs stepped too far into it. I personally enjoy Halo Infinite single player. I'm not a fan of the open world though. That was my biggest problem. I don't think it was terrible because it wasn't massive or anything. I just don't. I don't like certain games to be open world. I think everybody makes an open world these days. They're taking point A to point B games, trying to turn them into open world. They just don't work. Halo is not an open world game. It's a game with large maps. You can go from A to B and kind of peruse around a little bit, check things out, but it's never been, in my mind, a open world game. They did okay with the open world part of it. The gameplay is fun. I think the characters and everything are really good. It's just they like you said, they offered you a rainbow and it served you a turd. You didn't get everything that they were talking about until a year later. They only gave you a portion of what they were talking about. And now they're taking away the rest of what they were talking about. The only thing that they're going to keep up with is the multiplayer. And that's fine. They still have a 4,000 plus a month multiplayer, count. So yippee. But I don't play it. Me and my son, he's never played it. So I started playing co-op with him. And the reason we quit, Pat, is because that thing sucked ass at launch. When we tried to play in that co-op, it was breaking and it was awful. That was the main reason we quit, because it was crap. It ran like crap. When me and my son tried it, it ran much better, but still there was some issues. I don't think 343 is a bad studio. I think the biggest problem is somebody at Microsoft is making and forcing decisions that don't make sense. Service games, you have to do them right or don't do them at all. And Microsoft trying to make Halo Infinite a service game was not the right move. They should have made a single player focused driven game like they did with 1, 2, 3 and Reach, which Reach was the best game in the series. Perfect. It was almost a perfect game. Perfect co-op, perfect story, perfect fun. But 343, I think they've got too many chefs in the kitchen on it, and I think they were forced to make bad decisions. I don't want to put it all on 343, but I am glad they are well, they're not out of it because they're still they're overseeing it. So hopefully the powers that be just let the development team be. Let them come up with the ideals. If you don't like something, express it, but just remember, they're the ones making the game. They know more about it than you do. Listen to the player. So, but if I was to say, let somebody make the game over at Microsoft, the Coalition, they do Gears, so they could probably do a good job because they make really good stories in their games and their gunplay is good. The problem is I don't want to see Chief doing this, running with his gun.
You're
going to get a super thick Chief. He's going to be massive in the next one.
Yeah, his neck is bigger than his helmet. Cortana's got roid rage. I don't. They've got great talent over there, but far as a shooter like Halo, Coalition's probably the only one I can think of that would be really good with it. I mean, I don't see any of the other teams being able to do a Halo game. I really can't.
I don't know, but I don't know. 343 was born in Microsoft. So it's hard to say Microsoft's had their hands in it because 343 is Microsoft. They've never been anything but Microsoft.
Yeah, they were created for Halo. I mean, they were assembled.
Pretty much.
So, Microsoft, the biggest problem with any developer, it seems like, is they've got a money man, trying to find ways to milk things out, and they ruin things. They ruin the games. They can't all be Halo. They can't all be Destiny. But, I'm sorry, they can't all be Fortnite and Destiny, but Halo can be Halo and make damn good money because everybody loves Halo. up through Reach. And then everybody liked Halo 4 and 5. Now nobody wants to play it. I mean, that sucks.
Maybe it's time to retire the series for a while.
I personally I agree with that. I think Halo should go on a shelf for 5 to 8 years minimum. I think you could burn them out. Call of Duty, how they can still spit those out every 2 years or almost every year, really. I think are they still doing that? Because they're doing Infinity Ward, and then they'll do whatever the hell the other one is. I don't want to see them do that, with these games. And in fact, Microsoft does get Activision, maybe they'll stop that, but they won't. It's still about the money. That's the biggest problem.
I mean, Halo 5 came out in 2015, so there was a big gap between that and Infinite.
Halo 5 was 2015, really?
Yeah, October 27th, 2015.
Right, but there was like 5 or 6 other games in between that of Halo series.
Well,
like
they had
Guardians. Halo
Guardians
Wars 2.
was 5.
Yeah,
whatever.
5 Guardians. They got in between Guardians. There was Spartan Strike. Definitive. They remake Halo Wars Definitive. They did Halo Wars 2. They did Halo Recruit. Fire Team Raven. I mean,
those are arcade games.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's not like they don't. It's not like the series didn't put out any games between there. Is what I mean. But those were still 343 Industries.
But that is true. But I don't consider those Halo games. I consider those arcade games. I mean,
I'd say give it to id. Let's turn Halo into Doom.
That again, you're still going to end up with that neck bigger than the helmet. But you know what? That's not a bad idea.
It's no longer a Halo, though. At that point, you got to stop calling it Halo because it's Twitch combat. At that point, it's just the whole excessively jump from enemy to enemy to enemy to enemy type thing. Whereas Halo's a little bit more tactical, but not much, but it's a little bit more.
Yeah. But I think it could do a good job. But we'll just have to see, what happens. Apparently their pre-production is going on for the next Halo, according to this article. So hopefully it'll be a long pre-production. Long. And hopefully, the people that don't need to put their fingers in that pie stay the hell out of it. So yeah, unfortunately, Pat's right. Somebody's going to be like, what this game needs? Crates, loot boxes, DLCs. What's the one we saw the other day? You have to pay $14 to get Thor to take off his helmet in the Marvel Avengers. So if you want to see Master Chief without his helmet, it'll cost you $89.99. So.
And I disagree with Shane. The worst thing you can do when you're making a video game is listen to the fans. Because fans don't know what the hell they want. They'll complain.
No.
They'll complain. This game's a deviation from the original series. And then when you remake something, when you redo something in the original, they bitch because it's not new.
It's not
and
the same. That is true.
It's not new and you're doing more of the same. So don't listen to the fans.
You have to listen to the rational.
No, don't even listen to rational fans. The person who built the game is the person who's building their dream, their desires. Let them build what the hell they want. And if the fans don't like it, they won't play it. That means that your vision wasn't a good vision for the masses. But I get so sick and tired of where the fans like, you got to listen to us. No, because you don't know what the hell you want. Fans of games are bipolar.
That is true 90%. But there are times you got to listen to them. When you make a sequel to a game, you need to figure out what the gamers hated. And I'm not talking like Bob over here, pissed off. I'm twitting on this. I'm going to twit about this and they're going to cancel you. I'm not talking about Bob. I'm talking about the gamers that, that are all in the majority. Look, we didn't like what you did with X and Y because the controls don't work properly or whatnot. I'm not talking about, I'm going to twit you because, your game hurt my feelings. They need to listen to the rational criticisms. My opinion. Pat disagrees. What about you, Nick? Do you agree? Disagree?
I don't know, but what do you think out there listening? What do you agree with?
Exactly. All right. So Nick hit the cue for us to scooch. Do you guys have an opinion on this? Do you think 343 should have been taken out a little bit sooner before Infinite? Do you like Infinite? What'd you like, don't like? God, don't tell me you liked Five Guardians, because, geez, that was a turd. Let us know what you think about all of this, and let us know what you think about Halo going into the future. What do you want to see them do? Don't listen to Pat. Give us your opinion. All right. Thanks for listening all the way to the end. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. Really tell your friends. I mean, tell them. Shove that phone right in their face. Say, you got to watch this. All right. But until next time, we'll see you.